Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, January 24th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the price you see over here will be moving around and changing, and the candlestick you see will be changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks represents 30 minutes worth of time. Stock number one here, HLBZ. Absolutely monster move today. Did this analysis on Friday, talked about that trend line right there, and you can see the price gapped up above the trend line, spent the first 30 minutes pulling back, and then from there, I mean, just basically straight up. So moral of the story, a lot of updates need to be made. I'll go ahead and clear these lines out as they're no longer relevant to the current chart. But first update is just this newest area of support. And that level sits right here at the 37-cent mark. So 37 cents just based on the idea that when levels of resistance, which it was a resistance right there, are broken, they tend to act as support. And so far, so good. You can see acted as a support there and right there during this final 30 minutes. So that'll be the main area of resistance to watch moving forward. And then the main area of support, And then as far as areas of resistance, very straightforward. Literally just a question of where did the party finally stop today? And it finally stopped right up there at 48 cents. So for that reason and that reason alone is going to be where that main resistance is at. And then for those of you that like to play patterns, I understand if you would disagree with this, but right here, maybe we'll call it a poor man's bull flag right here. So if you like to play bull flags, if you like to play penny stocks, here you go. Next, INBS, and another big mover here. And yeah, there's been a pullback since basically that second 30-minute period seen by that trend line right there. But this is where perspective comes into play. And, this is where my job is a little tricky because is it a bullish or bad looking chart? Well, I don't know. If you're a day trader and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 7 minutes, well then yes, from that perspective, the chart looks really bad. But if you care about the big picture of things, sure, absolutely. The price has pulled back. In fact, let me just draw this in here. The price has essentially had a downtrend all day long. But again, big picture, you have to ask yourself, well, what was happening before all this? And you look at the fact that the price is way down there and you look at the price exploding upwards, how it did, we have ourselves another bull pennant, bull flag pattern. So like I said, I understand if you're a day trader that bought right there, then you really don't care about this pattern. But if you care about the broader scope of things, yes, while the price has pulled back, big picture wise, there's still plenty of opportunity for the price potentially make a move back upwards, build a higher base, put in a higher high, and that's how those uptrends are constructed. So is this a bad or good looking chart? That's up to you and what your perspective going in. But overall, if you do like to play these bull flags, bull pennants, then this is certainly a pattern that would, I'm sure, catch your interest and should be on your watch list. Next one, GNS, and a big, congratulations to any of you that watched the video from Friday, because if you did, then you know that I talked about this sideways movement, and you know that I said, if the price can get a move back up to that red line, then you got a chance. Now, of course, I didn't say there was to be a guarantee because those don't exist, but it made sense to think that a nice move could continue upwards, and sure enough, price broke up through that upper part of this consolidation, and a very, very impressive move. So again, congratulations to any of you that caught that movement and watch the video from Friday. But let's map out some of the newest levels here. And as of now, one of the newest levels of support going to be right down there at, in my mind, that $4.35 mark. So keep an eye on 4.35 in terms of levels of resistance. Sort of like HLBZ, just a question of where did the party stop today? And I realize that the price did go up over 6, but the level that I'm going to consider, that main level, right there at 5.85. And again, no guarantees. But in my mind, if the price can return back up to 5.85 and get a good high volume break, then again, no guarantees, but is it plausible? Is it valid to think that the price has a very, very realistic shot of pushing up through those highs? In my mind, absolutely. But again, it's got to be a high volume break of that 5.85 mark. So overall, though, keep an eye on it. Very, very impressive movements. Pretty crazy to think that not that long ago, this thing was down here below $1, and a few days later, tapping on the $6 door. So very impressive movement. Next one, XELA. And I suppose I'm doing this for more than one reason, but I will say that definitely the main reason that I'm doing this one is because of that volume bar right there. That 30-minute session, big surge in volume, nice green candle, which is now prompting the question. And maybe it seems like a very simplistic question, but you got to think about it, because in order to ask this question, something worthwhile first needs to happen. And again, the quote-unquote worthwhile thing that happened was the fact that this had a volume surge, and the price reacted nicely with it. So on that premise, the big question is, hey, is this the start of something even bigger? Is all this a leading indicator that the party's going to start back up again and that this thing is going to find that much more upside buying pressure? To be fair, maybe not. Maybe this was just some sort of kind of random event, not the start of anything better, and the price just, does nothing. But to be fair, well, maybe it is the start of something bigger. So that's why it is a worthwhile question to ask. And that's what a watch list is all about, to find those unique, to find those interesting situations and not randomly rush out and buy anything, but to watch it and to see what happens with it. So if you like to play these penny stocks and you like to play these potential scenarios where maybe this is just the beginning of something bigger that's to come, keep an eye on it. Next one, FFIE, another penny. The penny stocks were just booming today, but very, very impressive move. Finally got the breakout of this longer term pattern right here. So very nice breakout. So any of you that caught that, unfortunately, I can't say that I don't think I've tracked this one. I've done it before, but not recently. But if you have been tracking it on your own, well done playing that breakout. You got paid very nicely today. But more of the story here is volume picked back up. So a lot of people will be watching this one, or in my opinion, it's safe to assume a lot of people will be watching it. So let's just map out some of those key levels in terms of supports and those people that like to play pullbacks. Main area to keep an eye on in my mind is going to be that 85 cent mark. What would be nice is if the price can kind of come down around here, because at that point, then you could potentially draw yourself in some sort of nice bull flag pattern, which would be beautiful, maybe a bull pennant, if it pulls back some more. So that's another way of saying if just because maybe the price doesn't go straight up on Tuesday does not mean anything's wrong. In fact, just by pulling back, by going sideways, then you are going to get a much better potential, bullish pattern. So it's worth at least watching from that angle. And then as far as levels of resistance, again, pretty straightforward, just asking that question, where did the party stop? And right there below that dollar mark, which is a big psychological level at 98 cents. But if I had my perfect world, I would say if this thing just goes sideways, pulls back a little bit, gives a nice bull flag, bull pennant for Wednesday, that may very well be the best scenario. Real quick, wanted to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency, to manage risk, then certainly get signed up for the free live training. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying what you've seen, then definitely get signed up for the free live training. Next one here, AMC, an overall good day. Struggled up here around this red line that I talked about earlier. But the good news here is that this green line that we've been tracking, it continues to fight. It continues to hold strong and maintain around this level. Yes, once again, the price is still technically below it. But as I talked about on Friday and as it played out today, just because the price is slightly below level doesn't mean that level's actually been broken, because there is a bit of a range element associated with it. And same thing holds true here. On Friday, like I said, the price had closed slightly below it, but as I noted, not looking great, but I wouldn't wave the white flag yet. And then today, boom, up it went. So same exact premise. Now, does this mean that for sure guaranteed history will repeat itself and, boom, back up it goes? Of course not. Nobody can make that claim. But what I am saying is, once again, a little bit of a broken record and deja vu from Friday is, yes, just because the price is below that level, doesn't mean that for sure it's game over. But if the price starts to separate more and more to the downside, that is going to create more and more panic, more and more people just giving up because that trend line has been broken. In terms of levels of resistance, nothing to change here. Still all about that 585 mark, which again, it was broken several times today. But as far as, building and maintaining any sort of momentum, that just never happened. So 585 remains a key level of resistance. Next one, NIO, very, very impressive movement during that opening 30 minutes, and then the second 30 minutes, which was right there, because the second 30 minutes is where the breakout of that red line actually happened. So very, very nice move here. And let me squeeze things down. Let me get that out of the way. You can see that the price has been struggled with this channel as a whole, but like I said, today, very nice breakout of it. So let me get rid of there, and then I'll go through this next part relatively quickly because you've already heard me talk about this, but we have ourselves a nice solid bull pennant pattern. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big explosion right there. And for you golfers, I'll make it a little bit more visual, put up the golf hole down here so you can see a nice solid bull pennant pattern. So maybe you're not into penny stocks, so that some of those other stocks didn't really pertain to you in those patterns, but here is a stock that is not a penny stock, but yet still a bull pennant pattern. Next one, VERB, another penny stock, another one with that big volume, and we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. So I'll go through this relatively quickly. That's why I want to put these in the place that I did. So we have our resistance, we have our support, big move up, golf hole down here. So another bull pennant. And again, This one is a penny stock, so if you like these patterns, if you like this price range, then I definitely keep an eye on it. Although I will say that the last 30 minutes here, a little shaky. Probably should throw up a question mark of something maybe potentially broken right there. Now, like we talked about in AMC, that doesn't necessarily make or break a chart, but something worth probably at least keeping a little mental note of. Nice one here, MULN, and started to show even more life today. First started last week with that big surge of volume right there, and today it was more a question of, okay, is this the start of something bigger? And while it didn't necessarily explode today, the key thing that it did do was it didn't give up all its gains. It didn't pull one of these maneuvers where, let's just go right back to where it was in this part of the range. It just went sideways, but the key is, well, it went sideways higher than where it was in this previous area right there, which I realize not maybe the most exciting thing, but regardless, it is still a healthy thing just based on the premise of gains not, being given back. And I know I mentioned this on Friday, but if you've traded for a while, then I'm sure you've seen stocks that make good moves, and then all of a sudden the moves just go right back to where they were, sometimes even lower, and you kind of just sit there and like, what just happened? But that hasn't happened here, right? So sometimes, again, not the most exciting, but maintaining of gains is healthy in and of itself. So let's see, and let me change this here to green to represent more so the support. But moving forward, let's see if the price can continue to maintain those gains by staying above that 29-cent mark. Next one, TQQQ, which is an ETF that follows the NASDAQ. So if the NASDAQ market as a whole rises, this one also rises. And it's just the big difference is it allows you access at a much lower price point. And what a monster move today. I mean, Friday was already solid. And I mentioned on Friday that, yeah, maybe 21 cents would be getting within range. But in honesty, I thought that would be maybe come up here and just then get rejected. Maybe come up here and like start to, struggle with it. But I would be a liar if I said that, I was meaning that in the sense of comes up here, breaks through it like a knife through warm butter, and then just keeps grinding. That's not how I envisioned that at all, but that's what happened. So very, very powerful day, which brings the first update. It's just based on that, which I've said, when levels of resistance are broken, you want to see them act as support. So 21 cents, now one of the newest areas of support to watch closely heading forward. And if the price can stay above there, that would be fantastic. Not the end of the world, though, because you still have that purple line down there, which, ideally you'd like to see the price stay above. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level now as it served its purpose for now. And then in terms of levels of resistance, yeah, you've heard me say it, but it remains true, especially on this one because the price got up to right around $21.95 several times. And again, not necessarily couldn't break through it because it did, but as far as just getting even more momentum at that point, just could never quite sustain itself. But late day today, you can see the price curled back up. It seemingly is headed back up towards that level. So we'll see if the price can get up there and then push through it again. But anyway, look at it, very, very impressive movement. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to get signed up for the free class. Like I said, it'll be later this week, Thursday, January 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, do a couple things for me. Hit that like button, leave a comment below. Tell me what you traded today. Tell me what you're watching tomorrow. But those two things help out the channel and let me know that you enjoy. And as long as I know people are enjoying, I'll put in the time and effort required to get this content out to you. So again, get signed up for that free training. Hit that like button. Leave a simple comment down below.